one minute you're like at this high level, you're operating, you have all the team guys around you, all the locker room stuff, all those things. And then the next day you retire and it's like, what are you now? Right. You're not a fighter anymore. You're not a football player. You're not a team guy. Like you're just a regular dude at King Super, just like everybody else.
You're just looking at it from the outside at that point, right?
Yeah. So like,
and the community kind of drops you too, is what I found. Like you know, it's after talking to Wolf or like, you know, some of the guys or Scott Parker, like he actually started a veteran nonprofit just because of that. Like he just wanted that team kind of aspect.
No, I totally get that. And so Factory X for me has been an amazing place to get that like team feeling again, as well as like train for something that like I want to be proficient in, or, you know, I don't want to be some schmo who can't fight. I think it's very important as men that we train, that we stay active, sharp. You know, all that. And even if it's just for mental, you know, you may never need to put your hands on somebody or defend your family or do any of that. But having that courage or like whatever, I'm looking for the word of, you know,
being
like,
humbled
all the time, but also like that confidence, like when you're in public to be like, I'm not trying to walk around all cocky, but I'm also just like, it just changes how you feel about conflict.
I think that there's something too. I mean, I know that there's something there neurologically, and Doc Kate would have to explain it. Like going to jiu-jitsu and rolling hard, like a hard session in the gi.
I'm a jiu-jitsu hater.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I wrestle. So
those are the best guys at jiu-jitsu though, most of the time. Like
I'm not officially a jiu-jitsu hater. I think my problem with, and this is kind of funny, with jiu-jitsu is I really wanted to wrestle and do wrestling base. And I was like, because I've done jiu-jitsu, I did, you know, the whole army, like I've gone through, you know, all the combative certification stuff, and, you know, fought in combative tournaments and all those things. And I think it's great, you know, like jiu-jitsu is great. But what I was seeing when not training anymore is, or let me back up a little bit. When I was in the army, we do these tournaments and stuff, and I started this before I was in Special Forces, and then become Special Forces, and we're still doing the same type of training. They did have like a Lions program that they did, and I forget exactly what that was, but it was all basically kind of like MMA, but like rooted in BJJ. And then I was like, this makes no sense. We're training on the ground, we're learning all this stuff, but we're not doing anything starting from our feet. I was like, we need to be training from the clinch and learn how to like Greco wrestle and move around. Like I'm like, when I was a team guy, I was like 230, like 225 to 230, depending on how much fucking Mexican supplements I was taking. And so I'm like 225 pounds and I'm wearing 100 pounds of shit. The last thing I want to do is like tie up with the dude and fall down on the ground.
Yeah, it's the worst place to be.
Correct. So what we did was we brought in the Olympic Greco team to show it to, and I was like big on this. I was like, dude, like we need to learn how to fight from the clinch and like not go to the ground. So this is why I, you know, really think the combative stuff needs to change. And like, everyone's like, all cops need to know jiu-jitsu. I'm like, jiu-jitsu?
No, they don't, dude.
I'm like, you want them on the fucking ground with all that kit on?
It's the worst fucking thing for a street fight. I mean, there are some good lessons learned in there, like the collar choke.
And I'm sure there's some jiu-jitsu guy who could eat me to death on this conversation. My problem with what I've seen in jiu-jitsu is you can have a base in it and start, but like the last place I want to be when I have a gun on my gun kit, whether you're a cop, you know, you're a soldier, whatever, like I have too much shit on that now I have to fight in weapons retention and all this other stuff. My other thing with being at Factory X is like what I've always said when I did jiu-jitsu. It's like, yeah, you got me, but you're on your back. I'm laying on top of you. And if this was real life, I would bite your nose off and have my thumb in your eyeball. And you're not going to do anything about it.
No,
like,
it's so not true.
You know, so I really like that MMA style of all the training aspects, whether it's focusing on boxing or Muay Thai or wrestling or jiu-jitsu, because it's looking at it, putting it together to make you a well-rounded MMA fighter, which is the only training that most realistically mimics what could happen to you, you know, in a real altercation, you know, closing the distance, you know, defending a takedown or taking someone down or whatever, like all those different layers to your game. And then at the same time, the real reason why I'm a jiu-jitsu hater is because on social media, all I do is see dudes just laying on their back, and like I see all the tournament stuff where like
Rubber
you can pull guard.
and stuff
Well, you pull
like
guard
that.
and you don't lose points for it and stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, well, what is going on? Like,
Right.
So, and then the other thing I've seen since training at Factory X, no one likes to wrestle. It's hard as fuck.
Oh yeah, it's
So like, and Cody talks shit to all the guys. He'll literally be like, we'll have guys that'll like,
I think it depends on the jiu-jitsu gym too, because I guess the places where I've trained, there's a heavy wrestling influence
they start
with
from
like
standing.
D1s,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
we're
it's
doing takedowns.
It is a completely different
Yeah.
dynamic too.
Right.
And a lot of the gyms that
to the
don't
point
have
where you
that.
get injured. You
Oh
know?
yeah, absolutely. Same. I'm always like, oh God, I'm so fucked up. So that was just for me looking at like why I'm a little bit of a jiu-jitsu hater. Like,
I'm with you on that.
I like the wrestling aspect of it. And I love how jiu-jitsu, like wrestling has changed my whole approach to fighting, because when I could just box, like I have zero like if you took me to like I wouldn't know what to do other than trying to like frame and like football shit or something, you know?
Right.
Like but now I have confidence of like this dude, like, like,
Right.
okay. I have a little
that's what it's
layers
about.
to
I mean,
it.
it's that motor skill too.
Mhm.
I think it's definitely a motor skill. I've been recently wanting to, just because I've always owned firearms. I'm kind of proficient with them, but I'm more proficient with my bow because I spend that much time with it.
Reps. Yeah.
I would love to go take a like close quarters combatives class
Yeah.
that was like wrestling, jiu-jitsu with some like trainers, right?
Yeah.
Like a trainer pistol or a trainer knife or something like that. To me, that seems more
Remind me to
real
circle
world.
back on this.
Okay.
Because I got something for you.
okay, badass. But that's kind of what you're doing at War Party,
Yeah.
or War Party Ranch,
Yeah.
with these women and stuff, is like teaching them how to draw and
Yeah.
shoot, and then also a little bit of combatives, right?
Yeah. So the one thing I'll close out about my favorite thing about wrestling is just meaner. It's just fucking harder. It's just meaner.
You got to be a dog.
I
man.
can roll jujitsu 7 days a week. Yeah. I cannot wrestle more than like 2 days a week. Like I physically
No,
can't.
jiu-jitsu is an old man sport, I think. It's kind of like one of those.
Yeah.
Like if a 70-year-old dude can do it, a 70-year-old dude can't go to wrestling fucking 3 times a week, dude.
I mean, like I said, I just
Some
that's what,
70-year-olds
that's what I
might be
just
able
love.
to.
I'm able
Yeah.
to use my like, and I'm losing a step. I'm not as fast and stuff, but I'm able to use like speed and strength and like a lot of athletic explosiveness and do that. But I can also kind of tone it down, and then learning jiu-jitsu along with it, or stuff I've already known in jiu-jitsu, it allows me to like really give me a little bit more layers to.
Well, you feel so good
well-roundedness.
after it too, man.
Oh,
it's
dude.
like I was leaving jiu-jitsu, and it was a wrestle heavily class, got my ass kicked by like this fucking
Yeah,
former Oregon Duck,
Dude, we have nothing but-
350.
yeah,
Because
trust
I'm a
me.
big guy, I always get the.
I'm a factory expert.
Big guys.
Everyone has fucking ears look like a dog chewed on them. They're all. I was like,
It's a bunch of pit bulls in that motherfucker,
Yeah,
dude. But yeah, and then I had like 4 or 5 high school kids pull up next to me, and they were just being fucking
Yeah, just
dumb
idiots.
idiots, and they're just fucking yelling at me and flipping me off and shit. And I was just like,
you're just like whatever. They're laughing. Yeah. No, I was just.
But it was probably because I just left class, dude.
No,
I was literally like going to take a shower.
I was gonna say that. That is every time I leave rest. I almost wish wrestling practice was a little earlier in the day. Like I get it. Like it's perfect time for like after work and stuff. But I'm on a high. Like I can stay up to like 2 a.m. and not be tired.
Yeah.
No caffeine, no nothing. Like I don't cuss anybody out when I'm driving. A lot of times when I'm driving, bro, like I want to fucking just. I hate people, the freeway's like the internet, it's like people just, there's no consequence. They're like,
no.
cutting you off, do whatever. You're like, bro, what?
Well, there are sometimes, man.
yeah.
Like,
No, they're
motherfuckers
for
will
sure.
shoot your ass,
So I just drive home and I'm just like that. I'm just like, smile at it. Just like, I
road rage is not even a thing. That's what I was getting at.
I love that. And it does help, I think, feed like that warrior spirit of like, I do need violence. I do need to be around other men training that way. And it's something that I've never gone away from. It's been my entire life from a kid to now of like, I need that. And I think that, when you just look at the history of men and men in general, it's like we went from like sitting around a fire pulling security for saber-toothed tigers to like this pussified thing. And it's like, no, dude, men need men, and men need men's men. Like we don't need to talk about our feelings. We need to go out and hunt shit or wrestle around and throw each other around. And,
I never feel better than that after that.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like all those kind of adventures. So for me, Factory X is I get to do, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, whatever, I'm there. I get to experience a little piece of like going out to the woods for a really
Those
long
guys
time
are so
or a big
awesome, man.
hunt
They're
or
like a
something.
family to me,